They always have a B-side, right?
Yeah, baby!
Oh, my goodness. Well, first off, I would just like to thank my best friend, Paul, and his lovely wife, Stacy, for allowing me to be part of such a beautiful and wonderful event, an event that I know is amazingly important to both of you. I truly consider it an honor. And I'm really going to try not to do that girl thing and cry. But I do think that you could have found a much less expensive way to get a green card. I know most of you don't have any idea who I am. I enjoy being up on stage and having a microphone. Okay? But I am completely nervous about this, and I honestly don't understand why, so I'll apologize that I'm having to read some of this stuff, because it's going to seem like it's less sincere, but I hope you hear the words and understand where they're coming from. And I want to also be clear, it's none of you out there that are making me nervous, it's just what this honor means to me. I got no idea why this guy asked me to be his best man. I mean, you know me, Paul. You know, I stink at planning things. I'm, let's see, what words did I use? Irresponsible, usually offensive, and you can almost always count on me to be inappropriate, right? Now that I've I didn't hear anything. But now that I've addressed the elephant in the room, I think it's time we should tell some stories. All right, I think it's... I'm done with that page. Okay. I think it was absolutely fitting.
Lies.
We can pull arrest records. I do think it's fitting that, you know, the sort of symbolic official ending of Paul's life as a bachelor took place, or is taking place, in the same place that he and I's life as bachelors together started. You know, it was 6 years ago we came out here for a friend's birthday party, and this was, I mean, we had worked together for a while, but it was when we just began to fall in love. And we never thought we'd be life partners, though. We knew it was fleeting. And we came out here to celebrate a birthday. We decided to come out the day before, just have a real, like, grown-up, responsible dinner, maybe grab a beer, an early night, you know. I think what Paul had hoped we'd do is rent movies and, like, lay on the couch together. And I'm glad you found someone who'll do that with you and Stacy. But we went to dinner, actually. We were really going to be responsible. Went to dinner, went to grab a quick drink at a bar down here called Hair of the Dog. Yeah, English pub, seemed appropriate. For those of you who don't know, it's a reference to when you have too much to drink one night, the next night you should get up, or the next day you should get up and start drinking again. So I think that was also appropriate for the way Paul and I's relationship first started. And wouldn't you know it, you know, the feisty Englishman over here gets in a fight with somebody, an argument about what else but soccer. This big, burly Palm Springs redneck, which seems like an oxymoron, but they have him out here. I wasn't so much worried that Paul would get his butt kicked by this guy, but I seriously thought he was going to eat him. The guy was absolutely... Well, if he was any shorter, he'd be round. Let's just put it that way. So the fight goes something like this. You know, the guy's... I think we're on another page now. Yeah, it goes something like this. American football is better than soccer. To which Paul replies, I find you humorous, but we must agree that true football, not American football, is the bee's knees. And the redneck says, American football's better. They could kick soccer players' asses. Right. To which Paul replies, whilst I'd like to engage you in a debate about this, I think it not fair as I'm convinced you are retarded. And by the way, buddy, baseball's better too. Oh, now you've done it. I challenge you to a ruse in the car park. And he really fights like that, like the old school boxer. It's kind of funny. Well, long story short, they end up making up, handshaking in the bar. But somewhere in the night, something went awry. Now, my English friends out here, Jason, you can attest to this. We had one beer at this bar, and it was a Foster's, which is like Diet Coke in alcohol content, all right? So this one beer, I don't even remember finishing the beer, quite honestly. Next thing you know, and I'm telling you next thing I know, the sun has come up. I'm walking down the street with what smells like a homeless person's blanket wrapped around my shoulders, having no idea where I am. I mean, I missed like 10 hours of my life that night. And no one knows what happened. I just know that I'm alone and Paul's not with me. So I find my way back to the condo we're staying in, break in, because I believe Paul had the key. Paul's not there. And I think, how the hell am I going to find my friend? He's not answering his phone. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to call the hospitals and I'm going to call the jails. And being Palm Springs and, you know, the median age of people that live here is roughly the age of dirt. You don't live here. You don't live here. I figured it'd take me all day to call the hospital, so I should start with the one jail they have out here. And that conversation goes something like this. Hey, officer, I lost my buddy last night. Yeah? Does he talk funny like an Englishman? I said, yeah. He's like, yeah, we got him. It's going to be a while before we let him go. Now, the next part of this story I feel horrible about because I'm kind of breaking this to Paul right now. I had to pick him up in a cab, right, because he had his car keys with him and whatever. And when he walks out of the jail, I was balled up in the backseat of the cab laughing my butt off because he had road rash from where his hairline starts. That's pretty high up there. All the way down his forehead, across the bridge of his nose, and on his chin. The cops had found him face down in the street. Now, many of you don't know that side of Paul. I seem to bring it out in him. And in all fairness to Paul, we're pretty sure that we got drugged that night. I have no other explanation for it, but these are the kind of stories I have with Paul. My next story, Paul cut from my speech earlier today, and it is a night to honor you, so I will go ahead and let that one go. But I did want to tell him about the threesome. No, you guys don't get your minds in the gutter. My girlfriend Liv here, and Paul and I, we used to be the threesome that ran around. Everyone at Disney knew us. The best part about that relationship that we had is that Liv and I were dating, and we couldn't let anyone know because I worked in HR and had recently hired her. But there were a lot of rumors going around that Paul was dating Liv, and that Paul was dating me. And so he was a great beard for us both. It really worked out for us. Let's see. I saved some time there by going through that story a little quicker and not sharing the details. All right, we had the threesome. It was another night Paul and I were out having beers. And my son graciously points out to me that most of our stories start that way. But he started telling me about this girl that he had met. And actually, it started out he hadn't even met her. It was just this hot blonde chick that he saw in the elevator at his apartment complex. Which, on a side note, I'm a little concerned that you're never going to make any more friends now that you guys have a house because you seem to meet everyone in the apartment building you live in. So, Paul, make sure you get her out. Everybody likes new friends. So, Paul tells me about this hot chick he saw in the elevator, right? But he was all sweaty and like he didn't know what kind of impression he made. But the one thing, this is what I love about Paul because this was my influence on him. He told me when he got out of the elevator and he took a few steps, he looked back. And yes, she was staring at his butt. And I thought, you know what? I've trained my boy up right. He knows when to check if he's getting checked out or not. And then it goes through the cycle of Paul leaving his number on Stacy's car. This a little bit stalkery. You know, and then he tells me that she's an attorney, and after our first Palm Springs trip, I kind of figured he would end up dating an attorney. I just thought it would be a defense attorney, quite honestly, and not a prosecutor. But I guess, you know, Stacy's one of those that you keep your friends close and your opposition closer, right? But the best part of the story about when they met is when Stacy actually called him. She made him wait, I think, the 2-3 days, right? That all the movies tell us we have to. 2 days. And he says to her, or he finds out on the phone in the phone conversation that she's seeing somebody else. And his response to that is, okay, call me when that sucks. And that's my boy right there.